tired and needs her out of school. Reinvention, that's the game. This weekend I am a black girl gone wild, and I will do anything I want. Anything.
Hey, man, that's the new series called Run the World. It's available right now on Starz. DB, tell them who we got on the show.
Well, Sway, one of them is a director, producer, and writer who brought us the Boomerang series on BET. The other one is an actress and model who played the role of Harley on NCIS Los Angeles. She also starred on Law & Order Special Victims Unit and Criminal Minds. They're here to talk about the new series Run the World, which is available now on Starz. And I think this might be the first time that I'm getting to talk to two people who did a show that was filmed literally right outside my apartment. I remember when they were filming, because I used to live right around the corner from Marcus Garvey Park, which is one of the locations they shot at. And they filmed this all around Harlem. There was no sound stages or nothing. They actually filmed in Harlem, which is where I live, and you as well, Sway. So it's great to see all these great locations depicted in this new series. We have the creator, writer, and co-executive producer, Leigh Davenport, along with the girl who stars as Ella McFair, Andrea Bordeaux.
Andrea Bordeaux, Leigh Davenport, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So much. Thank you. Good morning. Grand Rising.
Grand Risings. When we get to this, so I got to be totally transparent. Leigh is a friend, man. We used to when I watched the episode of Run the World. I think it's episode 4. I think Harlem. Is it called the Harlem? Is it called?
I love Harlem. I love Harlem.
I love Harlem.
Yeah.
I love Harlem. I was like, yo, Leigh is showcasing all the spots we used to hit up back in the day, right? And it was like a love letter to Harlem. I got a chance to see the world see Harlem through the lens that I've had a chance to experience Harlem. And I thought it was amazing the way you did that. Tell me about Run the World. Like, what was the fuel behind it, Leigh?
Well, the fuel behind it really was my friends who I love and our experiences in our 20s running around Harlem. You were there for a lot of it, and it's such a magical place to live. And there's something really special about being in your 20s and trying to strive and reach for your highest limits in your career, and the support that you have with your girlfriends and the support that you just have with your friends and your community. And I remember just kind of being out some nights and looking at us, and being like, this is so incredibly special and this is so powerful for us. I wish people could see this. I wish people could see us in our neighborhood in a space like Harlem on screen, and they never had. And so I really wanted to, bring that to the world.
I mean, but it's not just women in their 20s. It's amazing black women. When you say that, I was around. It's the group of that your friends, my friends, the people that we all hung around were all doing exceptional things. Every single one of them, whether they were starting, a bag line, whether they were working in Viacom as producers, as editors, or going back to law school and doing these amazing things. And, we kind of saw that with girlfriends. We kind of saw that with living single. And to me, in this time and space, I think it's the nieces and the daughters of those shows have gone off to take it to a whole nother level. And the nuances, when I say I'm learning, it's like, oh, damn, I wish I had this show out back then when I was dealing with folks.
Maybe you would have known too much. Taking advantage.
Yo, did you have to? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but you're right to say, the community that we were a part of and that is so strong in New York is just full of dynamic, really awesome Black people, of all ages. And what I love about Harlem and why I thought it was important to show Harlem is the community is not ageist, right? We were in our 20s and you guys were, a little older than us. And then there was people older than us, but everyone was just in the same place, having the same cocktail, singing the same song. And there's so much to learn when you're able to be in community that doesn't segregate you and separate you and belittle you because you're too young or you're too old. And I think that's a very big characteristic of Harlem.
You got Erica Alexander in
big
there.
Facts.
And she plays an important role, her character, I think, in the show. And as I look at all these scenarios, Leigh, there's some scenarios you could have fed off of that I'm sure you chose to not. to not put in the script? Is there some things that happened in Harlem back in the day? I could think of 4 or 5 that you said, ooh.
You know what?
Don't be telling them
Not
where the
4 or
bodies
5.
are. Telling them where it happened.
Shit, I was nervous. I thought I might be in one of the storylines. I was like, oh.
Everyone got unnecessarily nervous. I'm not telling nobody's business, including mine, on TV. But, I mean, this show is positive. We're feeding off the positive energy, off the learning lesson. These girls obviously go through their struggles, and they have heartache, and they have career disappointment. But, we're choosing to, lean on the lessons that come from those moments and from the support that you get from your real friends in those moments. So nobody's business is out there like that.
Okay, cool, because I know stuff too, Leigh. I'm ready for you.
Wow.
Andrea, I apologize. This is just like a, friends kind of reuniting, and...
No, I'm loving it.
Okay, cool. Understanding Leigh's story, some of the things she's done, even working with Black Girls Rock and just working in media and literature and seeing, your steady ascension over the years, the progress, the trajectory, and to see where you arrived now. I want to say congratulations to you. And I hope that maybe you could speak to what that journey's been like, just to be heard, just to get recognized, and now to be at this point. What was that like? How did you not give up?
I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that question was for me. My bad.
That's for both of you. How about that? Okay.
Well, let's have Andrea because she's had quite a crazy journey as well. We both are so similar in that way. So I would love to hear her answer first.
Okay, go for it.
Well, I mean, first, I'm so glad that I get to be here and have this conversation with Leigh, especially because you guys have, such a long history and connection with each other. And I love Harlem so much. I lived in Harlem for 7 years. And Harlem was, it was always my dream to live in that neighborhood. I knew I wanted to move to New York City when I was a little kid, and Harlem was exactly where I wanted to live. I even had, conflict in my relationship that I was in at the time because he did not want to live in Harlem. He wanted to move to Brooklyn, and I would refuse to move out of Harlem because I was just like, no, I waited my whole life to live here, and I'm going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off. So, for me, just I can't really say exactly what it was that kept me going other than just love for the craft, love for storytelling, empathy for humanity, and just like a deep innate understanding that this is what I was supposed to be doing. And that if I just maintain that tenacity and that sense of belief in myself, that eventually I would land exactly where I was supposed to be. And so to have moved across the country to live in California and, 8 years after leaving New York City, booking a television show that's created by a woman who has the same love affair with Harlem that I did, and getting to come back and play a character that has that love affair with this neighborhood and this community. It's so divine, and I'm so honored to be a part of it, and I can't believe that it's happening. I mean, I'm literally on an incredibly successful morning radio show talking with Sway and Leigh and all these beautiful people. And, I think it's just such a testament to what can be created for yourself, or what you can create for yourself if you just remember who you are and that your dreams are attainable. You just have to keep going no matter what. And so I feel like that's really like the crux of my story and how I even got to this moment. It's just maintaining that belief in myself no matter what.
Andrea Bordeaux, that's well said. And you're killing your role.
Thank you.
You are killing your role.
I love Ella.
Mm-hmm. Talk about Ella.
Yeah,
is it Andrea? Is there any Andrea and Ella?
Yes. Ella is, Ella, I resonated with her so much. I remember when I got the audition for the role, I remember my heart kind of pounding, and, you could feel I could feel my blood circulating because I knew that this was something really special. And I just remember thinking to myself, I have to have this because she's so much like me. I mean, especially with where she starts out in the pilot of, really feeling like her confidence has been shaken, and that these big ideas of who she was going to be and the kind of, career success that she wanted just kind of falling to the wayside. She kind of crashed and burned a little bit and has had to start from the bottom and really humble herself and start to re-ask those questions of who am I and what do I want out of my life? And, what I thought I wanted didn't work. So where can I go from here is something that I really resonate with. And I think a lot of other people have had similar experiences. And so for her to just be figuring it out and doing the best she can and making some mistakes, but being able to be uplifted by the incredible women that she has around her, her best friends, and with the backdrop of this community of Harlem, it really was so reflective of a lot of the experiences that I've had in my life. And I think that, Leigh really captured these women in such a brilliant way that, from the very first few pages, I saw myself in all of them, and I still see myself in all of these women. And so I'm just, I love her so much. I love Ella. Ella is me. I am Ella. And then all of the similarities that I have with Leigh, it's just, it's kismet. I mean, Leigh's middle name is Andrea, and so the fact that we have all of these similarities to each other, and then they're interwoven into the character, and I get to be that. There's just like this beautiful connection that, the three of us have, that I get the opportunity to play on every single day.
Wow. That beautifully put.
That's well said. Well said.
Yeah. Then Andrea, Leigh, what's up? It's Heather. How are y'all? Thank y'all so much for joining us today on the show. Leigh, I have a question for you. If you could just speak to the women that are listening to this show right now, and not to leave the men out, but the creative women, the artists, the writers out there who have ideas, who want to create shows or scripts, and just talk to them about not giving up on the process of it, because it's hard. We had Wanda Sykes on the show last week, and Wanda was talking about the process as well, being an EP and getting these shows done and greenlit and all. Can you speak to the writers out there, Leigh, for us?
Yeah, I would love to, actually. I mean, I posted on my social a couple weeks ago every kind of iteration of this show, and it has been over 10 years and over 4 different names and over hundreds of drafts, right, that this show came to be into the state that it is in now.
Yes.
And I think you just have to, like what Andrea said, like, you have to know your gift and you have to believe in your gift more than anyone else. Sway knew me met me when I was a young girl. And like, for me, the journey of being able to sustain and progress and convince, sometimes you're even convincing your peers, right? And you have to convince your parents that you're not crazy, that you can do this, that you have to, because even people that love you will love you by discouraging you. And they don't mean, right? Like, they're loving you by trying to protect you, and that protection is discouraging.
Yeah.
And so it has to be a focus of, like, trusting your voice, trusting your calling, knowing that you have something to say and that you deserve the chance to say it. And then you just never give up. You can never, ever, ever, ever walk away from your thing. Because I truly believe the only way you don't get to where you want to be is that you stop walking that direction, and that has been my journey. I had to leave Harlem, which I never, ever wanted to do, and move to LA, which I still don't like, and do this thing and find my way, because it was so important to me to stay on this path, to tell this story about these women, to be a part of the space now, right? Like, now I have other projects going and other people calling me and asking me to lend my voice to, historical films and things. And I'm like, it's bigger than even what I imagine, right? Like, your real calling is bigger than what you see, but only you can hear and feel it. And so it really is you just got to block it out, turn that social media off, get off Instagram, don't answer the phone call, whatever you need to do to channel and focus internally on how to order your steps. That's the way, because it's noisy.
Yes, it is.
It's noisy out here.
I like that.
And it's so noisy. You'll hear other people's voices and confuse it for your own. That's big facts, Leigh.
There you go. Exactly.
Listen, I would love to hear both you and Andrea's take on, because, ambition can also run wild in some ways, because especially here in America, we put so much emphasis, in my opinion, on our profession, and make that synonymous with our purpose. And we've seen time and time again, no matter what industry, people who have so much success, but then they still feel unfulfilled, right? Yeah, bro. Yeah. And so, but there's a thin line between like guarding your peace and avoiding your growth, or just focusing on your ambition, but to the point where you sacrifice your peace, you don't honor it. Have you guys ever, like, what is your kind of, your rubric for knowing when to say yes, knowing when to say no, so that you still have time for yourself personally, instead of realizing, oh shit, I've spent all these years only understanding myself professionally?
I'll jump in. I know Andrew's going to kill this answer, so let me go first because I don't want to talk after her. I'll go first by saying this. I never wanted kids, right? Like, that was just, like, not my thing. And I have actually, it's my daughter's birthday today. She's 2 today. And in the process of moving to LA to make this show, which was the only thing right in my mind that I wanted, I met my love. I became a mother, not only to my 2-year-old daughter, but to his 10-year-old daughter, who's my stepdaughter, and I ended up in a life that I never saw for myself. I never saw family because all I saw was ambition. And I think, though, the self-work that happens to reach your ambition goals also changes who you are as a person, like if you're doing it right. So for me, I feel like my journey was, I was able to attract love that I needed and like a spiritual shift that I needed to be able to achieve this work dream, because I focused on the personal. And Andrew and I talk about this all the time, but like focusing on the internal, right, and then manifesting outwardly beyond what you can see. And like I manifested a whole family I didn't think I wanted. And I think that you have to learn, but I had to be open.
Yeah.
Like, I had to be in a place where I was then open all of a sudden after staying 10 years in my 20s. I don't want kids. I don't even care if I get married, like all of those things. Like I had to be in that space. And so I think, it's like the self-work journey to me is the thing that unlocks all the other things, so that when you get in the work, you can be joyous. When you get in the work, you can recognize the vampires that are coming out, offering you stuff that you don't need. I love Tamar Braxton forever for saying, just because somebody offers you something doesn't mean you have to accept it, right? Like, just because it's cute don't mean it's for you. And so, like, staying grounded spiritually and, meditating and focusing on, like, again, can you hear, can you listen? Because you're going to have to suss out the bad stuff. The good stuff comes with bad stuff. It's unavoidable. And you've got to be rock solid. And I tell young writers all the time, before you get in this business, ask yourself why. Why do you want to do this? And if it's because you want to be famous or because you want to be rich, you are never going to make it. Your soul will not survive what it takes to stay in it.
That's real as hell.
That's very good.
I mean, she said I was going to kill it. She killed it. She said everything that I felt like I wanted to say. One of the things that I've learned is that every single step that you take in your life is a part of your purpose. Even if it doesn't feel that way, even if it, resembles what you perceive to be failure or hardship, it's all part of your purpose, because it's leading you down the path to get to where you really want to be and where you're destined to be. My last big job was NCIS LA, and when I first got that, I thought it was my dream job, and it ended up being an extremely difficult experience. It was 7 months, and it was grueling, and there were a lot of things that happened on the show that really just shook me to my core. But ultimately what happened from that experience ending was that it sent me on this really deep, intense, spiritual journey of deep shadow work and inner child healing and therapy and, establishing a meditation practice that really just brought me to a place where I was able to, clear a lot of that intergenerational trauma and the epigenetic trauma that was preventing me from manifesting the the real things that I wanted in my life, you know, like almost like I was blocking my own blessings, but I was able to clear the fluff away so that I could just ground and center myself and call in what was truly meant for me. And that was, you know, this show, for instance, you know, I was able to develop a sense of openness, and I was able to open my heart and be able to have experiences that I didn't necessarily believe were possible for me. And that's what allowed me to even have this audition experience, you know, because I went in for a role for a different show that I never would have auditioned for this show. I used to say no to all kinds of things just because of my judgments about the character or the director or who's producing it. And then I learned that, you know what? It's not about them. It's about what can I bring to this moment? What can I do with this script? How can I take, you know, this, okay, the writing is bad, but I'm not a bad actor. I'm a great actor. So I can break this down and I can elevate this piece of writing to something that's really beautiful and authentic and heart-wrenching. So let me do that. And it was my ability to do that with what I perceived to be bad writing that allowed me to go straight to, you know, an audition with Leigh and Yvette and Millicent, who directed the pilot. And I never even would have gotten the opportunity to audition for them had I not been open to that other audition that I would have originally said no to. But all of that was because of all of the experiences that I had before that led me to that openness. And that's kind of what Leigh was touching on when she said that, you know, she didn't want a family. She didn't want children. But then her opening her heart to the possibility of that is what created that ability to fill her cup up with all of the other things that she didn't even realize were possible for herself. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that having that open heart and trusting the process that you're on, even when it feels terrible and painful and you're literally on your knees bawling your eyes out because the pain is so overwhelming, what that's doing is that's clearing you so that you can fill yourself up with the things that you're really destined to experience. And that to me has been absolutely transformative. Like the woman that I am today is so completely different from the woman that I was 3 or 4 years ago, but it's because of the transition that I was able to go through, from going from hardship to spirituality to realizing my divine power to call in the things that, you know, like that are even bigger than I can imagine. Like, this is so huge, but I also know that even what I'm experiencing right now with Run the World is just one step in the journey for me. And that realization, just you're limitless when you can come to that point of understanding. And I think that's the best advice that I can give to people, is just to be open and to heal yourself, because healing allows room for more things to be given to you by God, by the universe.
Come on, preacher.
Come on, Andrea Bordeaux. Come on. I'm about to follow. Where's your church at?
Right. Pass the plate.
I'm trying to join it. Wow. That was amazing. You guys are like one of my favorite interviews. I can't wait to do this in person. Andrea Bordeaux, congratulations. You paid your dues, and keep shining.
Thank you.
You do excellent in this series. Leigh, I can't express how much enough how proud I am of you, you know, and continued success. And the topics. Listen, Run the World is available on Starz. Now, the topics are crazy.
Yep.
Like,
I told my girlfriend to watch it last night. I told my neighbor, she came over for something. I was like, girl, you better watch this show. And she emailed me texted me 2 hours later and was like, oh my gosh, HB, this is crazy. I love it. Thank you. Yeah, they killing it. They killing it.
Hey, Leigh, let me ask you a personal question, okay?
Yeah, here you go, Sway.
No, this is, you know, because I think it was the Plus Ones episode. Is that the one where they had the house party with the professor? Was it the Plus One episodes? They had the house party, and there was another professor who goes by the name of Donda, right? And Donda, they was talking about women should be allowed to sex upward at least once in a lifetime. Sex and ambition doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. You wrote that, Leigh.
The fucking up.
Yeah, fucking up. That's what yeah, fucking up. You know, fucking upwards.
I was like, what?
You believe that do you believe that, Leigh? Leigh, you believe that? Is Leigh gone? Did she hang up?
Oh no.
Leigh Davenport, are you there?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay,
Right.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. I did. I do believe that. I do believe that, women should not be ashamed. I mean, we say it in the pilot too. Like, where was the, like, it's okay with sleeping your way to the top as long as you do it before you're, 26 and discreetly. I think, like, the idea, right, that we're not having real conversations about how women use sex and power is insane, especially since we're watching women use sexuality in all of these ways to make money on reality shows, on Instagram. And the idea that dating a powerful man should be a knock on you as opposed to, like, a part of just what womanhood and sexual power can be, like, it's worth a conversation. I was always dating poor guys for love. And, my therapist was like, I mean, you can date a poor man that you love or a rich man that you love. You're just going to have a nicer life one way or the other.
Hello.
Why are you, like, you're not earning any points with the universe for being broke. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that was my stuff, So I'm just saying, it's worth a dialogue, right? Like, it's worth examining.
I love that. That's the kind of thing that you never hear people talk about, and that's why I love this show, man. Leigh Davenport, thank you. Andrea Bordeaux,
thank you, Heather. Thank you guys for having
y'all.
us.
We love y'all, man.
Thank you.
Keep killing it, ladies. It is, you may not get every single, DM or Instagram post or tweet, but just know there are a nation of neighbors and word of mouth and different things like that that's going to keep lifting you guys and lifting up this show. It's absolutely phenomenal. So thank y'all. Keep doing it, man.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
So much fun.
Citizens, when the Upshaws, when Wanda Sykes came on the show last week, the Upshaws was number 2 in the country. We said let's make it number 1. Now it's number 1 in the country. Let's make Run the World number 1 in the country. If you don't have Starz, go get Starz.
Hey.
Make sure you support this show. Run the World on Starz.
Love it.
You're going to love it. Queens, thank you for joining us this morning. Y'all have a beautiful day.
Yep.
You
Absolutely.
Bye.
Okay, that was great. Bye.